Alrighty, cool. Plenty of people online. Awesome. Alright, g'day guys. So my name is Tom. I own a couple of businesses. The first one is Origin Canine. We make tactical dog equipment and work with some police and military units to develop that. The second business is The Stoic Dog, which is a pet dog training business. It's a business which I've been running for the last 2.5 years, which we're shutting down soon in favour of Origin Canine, so I'm going to put the sunnies on. So what we're going to do today is have a quick look at the warehouse behind you that's set up to make this equipment. Have a little look through there so you can sort of see what the vision is of the company and where we're going, maybe even have a look at a couple of samples. Then we're going to come back outside, hang out with Frank, my Rottweiler, my pet dog, and we're going to talk a bit about dog obedience, so why you would want to do some dog obedience and a couple of quick tips to get you started in dog obedience at home. So, Frank's just going to mince around like he does. We're going to have a quick look inside. I've got a lead on me as well, just in case I need to grab Frank if there's a kangaroo. So control is always important. So it's a total mess at the moment, obviously, because we're just a starting up business. But essentially, you know, these are some of the old samples we've got, which are all disassembled, so we can make some modifications and improvements. Here's a whole bunch of different products that we've got that we need to send out from when we were previously operating. Oh, good boy, Frank. So if you walk through here, you'll see how the reception goes with the Facebook Live. Watch your feet there. Over here, this is basically how the products are going to flow through the warehouse. We've got material, we've got hardware, we're going to have some pre-cut stuff. I'm going to have most of our material along this wall. Keep moving over here. Frank's going to demonstrate how to use a sewing machine. Thanks, Frank. Frank, you. So we've got 3 different sewing machines here. Each one has a different purpose. Come on, Frank. And products will flow this way out of the warehouse into your hands. And that's it. That's it for the warehouse. There's nothing overly special to show in here. It's just to get you an idea about where we're going. Here we go. Frankie, come on in. Right, so Sunny's going back on for the sun. So, what I'm going to talk about is clickers. Charging your clicker in order to use food for training. So,
just hold 2 seconds.
Yep. Pause. Thank you. Reception good? Is it cutting out, is it?
Just
we can move if you like. All good? Back online? Everyone still with us? Awesome. Okay, so this is Frank. Frank is my pet dog. Frank is a 5-year-old male Rottweiler. So what we're going to do now is get some peanut butter. I'm just joking. We're going to get some food for Frank, right? So we are talking about clickers today. You can see how interested he already is. So the reason I use a clicker, actually before that we're going to talk about some of the benefits of obedience and why I do obedience. I'd say probably the biggest reason I do obedience is that I need control of my dogs in certain situations. To stop Frank from running away, be able to recall him away from some sort of danger or threat, or maybe a situation he shouldn't be in, like eating something he's not supposed to. If I'm walking around in a crowded environment, I might want Frank to walk in a heel position beside me. What else is there? Things like knowing how to build boundaries on roads, sitting before you cross, those type of things. So a lot of it's about your control over your dog as you navigate the world, and a little bit about impulse control for your dog as well. Also think about obedience as like confidence through competence kind of thing, right? So it's great engagement to build a good relationship between you and your dog, but it's also good for the dog because they learn how that they can affect the behaviour of you and the environment. So they can learn to get reward, avoid things that may cause them punishment, for example. Hey-ya! But I mostly like to do sort of reward-based training, especially when I'm building a specific behaviour. So, those are just some of the benefits of obedience training. Now, the way I start my obedience training, right? So this is a clicker. You can just get them online, eBay. You can go to RSPCA, get a box clicker. I prefer the box clickers because they're much louder, like me. But this is just a standard one you can get off the internet. So what the box clicker does, what the clicker does, sorry, it just makes the clicking noise. There you go, buddy. So I'll talk you through how we charge the clicker, get it ready for training, before I tell you how we use it and why we use it. So, when it comes to reward-based obedience, the obedience that you do is only as powerful as the reward that you have, all right? And only as powerful as the signal that you give to the dog to elicit a specific response. So in this instance, we'll use what's called classical conditioning, which is associative learning. So I click the clicker, I present Frank with some food. Yay. First couple of times, he doesn't really know what's going on. It's just a coincidence. Click, food, happy. Over a series of repetitions, what starts to happen is that Frank eventually goes, oh, I hear the click. I know that there's food coming. Yay, I'm happy. I have the same feeling when I hear the click as when I receive the food, right? So this takes a lot of repetitions. So what I usually say to my clients is, think of a big number, times it by 10, you're halfway there. That's how many clicks and food, click and food that I want you guys to do. Now I'll go one step further. I like my click to mean something specific. So I'll click the clicker and I'll move backwards. I want Frank to move towards me, all right? Now a lot of people think this is because it's a recall training exercise. It's not. You happen to get a recall out of it, but that's not why I do it. I do it this way because when I do work at distance, for example, Frank is over there. Sit, Frank. Or he's right here. Hey, sit. Good boy. I'll move away. Frank's now finished the behaviour. So I can work at distance. It also helps massively with the recall. Okay, so once you've done 1,000,001 repetitions of this, click, here's your food, good boy, over and over and over and over again. Yes, your hand's going to get disgusting. That, when I get a very acute response out of Frank, so have a look at Frank. See, he moves automatically like that, and if his ears weren't already up, they would have popped up and he would have gone, oh, I'm happy for the food. Once I get that very strong acute response out of Frank, where he may run from where he is over to me in order to receive his reward, that's when I go, I'm probably ready to start training, right? Because we've got the value. You always have to start with the value proposition first. If there's no value in what you're doing, Frank is not inclined to do it, particularly when you go out in public and there are lots of distractions and competing motivators out there. There's no way Frank is going to respond to this if there's another dog he wants to play with, or if there's a rabbit he wants to chase, for example. So once you've got that acute response from your clicker and your food, that's when we're ready to start training. Now I'll give you a couple of really quick tips about how to build some behaviours with the clicker. So at this stage, when I've got my clicker giving that great response, I like to think of this as like taking a photo. Okay, so every time I click this, it's like taking a photo. So I'll lure Frank like this. He follows my hand. Where his head goes, his body follows. Spin in a circle. And a nice easy one, right? Hand goes up like that, head goes up, bum goes down. There we go. He's in a sit position. I take that photo and then he gets that reward. Personally, I always get them to get up out of the position so I can have that response that I showed you before. Frankie boy. I dropped one piece. Come on, Mr. Man. So I'll do the same thing. Hand goes over the head. There you go. Head up, bum down. Yay, he's in the sit position. Take that photo. He gets the food. Easy. Now, when it comes to doing a down position, for example, there's a couple of different ways I do this. Frankie, you found the piece in amongst all these rocks. Frankie. There you go, Mr. Man. So sometimes I can just put him in a sit first, and then I'll move the food down like this, and then Frank will drop his front paws, walk them forward, ends up in the down position. Yay. Click, take that photo. Enough repetitions of that, he'll start to understand that this gesture means down, he's going to get a reward, as an example. Another way I can teach the down, which I haven't actually taught Frank, so let's just do it live. I'll get my hand, I'll draw him forward, and I'll push him back a little bit like this. He's not going to do it because we're live, but he's a bad dog, he's untrainable. I push the food under his leg. I want him to pivot on his front. No, he's not going to do it. I want him to pivot off his front legs and then move backwards like this. So he goes straight from a standing position into the down position. And then I do the same thing, I click and reward him. So those are very easy movements to do. It's a single hand gesture, one click, do it a billion times, right? Now is when it gets a little bit more complex. If I want to teach a behaviour that may have a couple of components, for example, so if I want to teach Frank to do a heel, he's doing it again. Good boy, Frank. I kind of consider that 3 movements for the particular way that I taught that one. So the first movement of this is this one. Frankie, you found some more rocks, mate. First movement is I want to get Frank to move to me, and I want him to be in this position. So I click him and reward him right there. All right, so I'm taking these photos. You ready, bud? Second component is I want him to spin. So I bring him back, I spin him around, I walk forward a couple of steps and he's there. There we go, I click and I'll reward. And for me, the third component is he goes into the sit when he's in the heel position. So it looks like this. Drag him back, walk forward a couple of steps, lift my hand up, he goes into a sit. Good boy. There we go. So this is what we call successive approximation, or shaping a behaviour. So we build a behaviour in steps, all right? If you build a behaviour in steps as well, it's a lot easier for problem solving later. So for example, when I first taught Frank to do a heel, he wouldn't go all the way to the back and spin around. Sometimes he'd have his ass out to the side like that, for example. And I realised sometimes if I was over there and I said, Frank, heel, instead of doing what he just did then, he might be behind me. Because I always taught Frank to go forward, back, and then sit. So he just knew the movement, not about where he was supposed to be relative to me. So there's a couple of different ways you can sort of go about that, which we don't need to touch on now because we'll start getting a bit too complex and it'll sort of blow the video out to 2 hours, maybe 3. But long story short, if you want to create a complex behaviour, break the movement down into small components, train each individual one until the dog gets it, they get it, they get it, they get it. Then do the next component, go through the full movement, next component, then get the final one, and always click on the final behaviour. Last point we're going to talk about is naming behaviours. How are we going for time? You all good? Sweet. Last one we're going to talk about is naming behaviours. So Michael Ellis from Learberg Training, was at Learberg Training in the US, a saying he has, I don't know if he made it up or not, is don't name it till you love it. So if you don't love the behaviour that you've got, if it's not what you want it to be, don't give it a name. Because if you give it a name, it's going to be a shitty behaviour, right? Okay, man. So let's just say I've got my behaviour that I like. I go like this, and I spin him, he goes in the sit. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy with that, right? He knows the behaviour because he knows this. This for him is do the behaviour. He follows my hand signal. Oh, I get it, I know what this means. Then, the same way the click food works, I'll give him the command, the word, then I'll do the thing, then I'll click and he gets food. So he's just following a series of breadcrumbs to get to the end result. So I'll say, without doing anything, heel, then I'll move Frank. I'm interrupting him now because he knows what to do. Good boy, there we go. And then he gets to click. And that's it. You're going to do the same thing for naming the behaviour. Don't say the word and guide them at the same time. Say the word, guide them, click, yay, good boy, good girl. And that's it, guys. That's some very basic obedience stuff using a clicker, very motivational type training. There are plenty of other different methods you can use with the leash. There's a lot of stuff with toys and balls. It depends on the dog, depends on the drive, and depends on your outcome. But as a starter, that's a great way to get yourself started with dog training. Now, if you want to have some more resources to look at, you can go on YouTube and just Google clicker training. Frank, leave everyone alone. You can go on YouTube, look up clicker training. You can take it one step further. You can look up Karen Pryor clicker training, or you can buy Karen Pryor's book, Don't Shoot the Dog. So Karen Pryor is a former dolphin trainer from SeaWorld or some sort of dolphin prison, and she basically sort of codified the clicker concept. It's been around for a long time, but I think she sort of turned it into the modern day what it is now. And that is about it, guys. If you want to be able to find me, don't look for the Stoic Dog because we're closing that one down. On Facebook and Instagram, it's origin.k9. So origin, like an X-Men movie, dot, full stop, letter K, number 9. And that's it, guys. I'm Tom Brown. Thanks for your time.